Hello and welcome to this holiday edition of All Access with the Profs. My name is Leo West and I'm joined alongside my fellow host, Jake Clark. And Jake, with the holidays coming, it's time to reflect on our year and reminisce on the good times we had over the past year.
Yeah, it's been a great calendar year for the Profs, but Rowan's winner athletes and teams, they'll look to keep things and the wins coming from 2025 into 2026. Coming up in this episode, we have Tape Talk with Mason Kinahan, the debate team, and Jacob Michaud and his Magic Minute.
You know, a team this winter who is making some headway and having a season to remember is women's basketball. Last time out, they lost to Montclair State, but here's Brett Gardner with more.
Thanks, guys. Last week, Rowan hosted NJCU, where they defeated the Gothic Knights in an offensive explosion, winning 101-70. Rowan came out firing to open the game, as 4 of their first 5 buckets were three-pointers. This set the tone for the rest of the game. 5 of Rowan's players reached double-digit points, with Abigail Jasmine at 16, Christina Sikaris with 15, Megan Donaldson with 12, Jess McLaughlin with 11, and Natalia Barrera with 10. The Profs drained 12 three-pointers against the Gothic Knights and never trailed once in the game. It was the first time since December 8, 2021, that Rowan scored 100 points in a game. This takes the Profs to a 5-2 record, where they hope to continue their 2-game winning streak next week. From SB Gymnasium, I'm Brett Gardner from All Access with the Profs. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Brett. Welcome back to Tape Talk here on All Access with the Profs. I'm your host, Mason Kinahan. After a loss in their season opener against Elizabethtown, the Rowan women's basketball team has won 5 of their last 6 games, including a 31-point victory over NJCU this past Saturday. Rowan's offense exploded, scoring a season-high 101 points en route to the win. But what clicked offensively for Rowan? Well, let's dive into the tape and find out. All right, let's take a look at this first play here. Rowan is up 29-18 early in the second quarter. The Profs finished with 26 assists, which was a season high for the team. They were moving the ball very well offensively, and it led to a lot of high percentage shots for Rowan. So let's take a look at this first play. Jess Mastriano at the top of the key and Megan Donaldson here in the right wing. Mastriano is going to keep the ball moving over to Donaldson, but watch this play from Mastriano and Donaldson. Mastriano is going to notice that her defender is not actually looking at where she is. She's looking at the ball. And this was happened a lot for NJCU's defense throughout the night. But Donaldson's going to be able to get the ball right back to Mastriano. Mastriano's going to cut inside. The defender is late to react, and it's a high percentage and 1 opportunity for Mastriano. All right, this next play later on here in the second quarter, the Profs are still up by double digits. I loved throughout the entire night Rowan's energy on offense, especially how they love to push the pace, even after made buckets. This is a made free throw for NJCU. But Rowan immediately inbounds the pass to McLaughlin to Abigail Jasmine, and Jasmine, as soon as she crosses half court, fires it into the right wing. NJCU's defense leaves Christina Sikaris wide open, who knocks down the triple, a season high and a career high 15 points for the freshman in this one. Another thing I loved about Rowan's offensive game plan was how they used the height of Charlotte Carlisle to their advantage. Carlisle is 6'3", and there isn't a player on NJCU's roster who is taller than 5'10". So whenever Carlisle has the ball near the paint, they gotta bring some help. Watch this pass here from Jess McLaughlin. She's going to send it inside the paint, and the defense is already collapsing on Carlisle. You have 1, 2, 3 players already in the paint here or near the paint trying to defend Carlisle. This leaves a wide open Christina Sikaris in the corner. Carlisle finds her, and Sikaris is able to knock down a triple right before halftime. Here's another great example of Charlotte Carlisle's presence in the paint, opening up a corner 3 look for Megan Donaldson here in the corner. Watch Carlisle set the screen and then roll. She's going to be wide open because NJCU's defenders are going to misread the assignment and react late to the pick and roll. And once Mastriano has the basketball, she knows she's bringing this inside to Charlotte Carlisle. And clearly Carlisle wants the basketball. So once this ball goes inside, it's going to bring in this corner defender to Carlisle. And they're going to try and double team because, again, Carlisle is taller than every single person on NJCU's roster. But instead of going up for 2, Carlisle is going to kick this outside. And it's the extra pass that gets Rowan the extra point and knock down this 3 from Megan Donaldson. It was fireworks like this all night from Rowan women's basketball. The Rowan women's basketball team will look to continue this offensive success against Cade and William Patterson before taking a couple weeks off thanks to the winter break. But for the final time here in the fall semester, that'll wrap things up here on Tape Talk here on All Access with the Profs. So let's send it over to Jake and Leo in the studio with more on Rowan Athletics. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Mason. Jacob Michaud will provide more on women's basketball's big win later in the show on Michaud's Magic Minute. Men's basketball has gotten off to a slow start to their 2025-2026 season. For more on men's hoops, here's Nolan Dowell.
Thanks, guys. The men's basketball team continues to search for their first win of the season after losing both games this past week to Rutgers Camden on Wednesday and NJCU on Saturday. On Wednesday, the Profs dropped their game against Rutgers Camden 70-68. Khalil Baker led the team in scoring with 15 points to go alongside with 7 rebounds. The Profs tied the game up with 9 seconds to play, but allowed a basket and couldn't tie the game back up. Taz Canty was second on the team with 14 points. On Saturday, in a matchup with the NJCU Gothic Knights, the Profs would lead at halftime 41-35. That lead would not hold, however, and they would lose 85-72. Bryson Williams led with 15 points for Rowan, while Michael Perrone had 14. The men dropped to 0-8 on the season and 0-3 in the NJAC. From SV Gymnasium, I'm Nolan Dow with All Access with the Profs. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Nolan. Men's swimming is coming off a third-place finish at Franklin and Marshall's Invitational, and the women's team is coming off a fourth-place finish in the same event. They both had Swarthmore over the weekend, and to see how well the two teams did, Aiden Ray has the latest.
Thanks, Jake and Leo. The Rowan men's and women's swimming teams competed back at home on Friday night against the Swarthmore Garden. This is the last meet of the 2025 calendar year. Starting off with the men's team, who won their matchup 101.5 to 84.5. Winners on the night included Drew Westhoven in the 200 free, Braden Sheehan in the 100 IM, and Jim Mahoney in the 100 breaststroke, with a time of 57.18, which is a personal best. A great effort by the men's team. Moving over to the women's team, who lost their matchup 113 to 73. Ella Pennington turned in a school record in the 200 free. Her time of 154.12 bettered the previous best time of 154.15 by Jordan McChesney back in 2023. The senior now owns 4 individual program records and is also a part of 3 relay top times. Riley Cornell took first 109.03 with teammate Trisha Lau turning in a personal best time of 111.47 in the 100 breaststroke. Some good overall results by the women's team. Up next for both swimming teams, they will compete in a 2-day meet with TC&J on Friday, January 16th and Saturday, January 17th. The Friday, they'll go up to Ewing, but then the Saturday, they'll be back home for Senior Day. This is Aiden Ray, your Rowan swimming reporter here on All Access with the Profs, and we'll send it right back to Jay Clark and Leo West in the studio.
Thanks, Aiden. Indoor track and field season is in full swing for our Rowan Profs. To see if Rowan can put their best foot forward, here's Jack Pernick.
Thanks, Jake and Leo. This week, both the Rowan men's and women's indoor track and field teams opened their seasons up with strong showings across 2 different meets. For the men, they opened up at the Fast Track Invitational in Staten Island, where the women split their squad between the Fast Track Invitational and the Armory Collegiate Distance Carnival in New York City. Both groups came away with a full slate of impressive results. For the men, one of the tightest finishes of the day came in the 60-meter hurdles, where Kwaku Nkumra edged out teammate Jason Aguiman by just 0.02 of a second. In the sprints, Rajon Dixon grabbed first in the 200 with a 21.53, and Masai Bird ran a 6.88 in the 60 final. Rowan also looked strong in the middle distance events. Dallas Honey tied for the fastest 800 time in the meet at 1.54.99. The field events were just as productive. Jameel Gant cleared 2.08 meters to win the high jump, leading 4 Profs who placed in the top 5. Freshman Anthony Parker made a big statement in his Rowan debut by winning the long jump at 7.08 meters. The men also closed the meet with a win in the 4x400. For the women, Nyla Jones had a standout day, finishing second in the 60-meter hurdles and then winning the 300 as well. Rowan swept the top spots in the 600 as Ava Rizzo and Lisa O'Sullivan took first and second. Both teams now shift into preparation for their next meet on January 16th at Ocean Breeze, where they look to build on this opening week momentum. Here at SP Gymnasium, I'm Jack Pernick on All Access with the Profs. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Jack, and well done on making your all access debut on air. Those of you who don't know, Jack has been the teleprompter operator for the last 2 semesters, and he's done a fine job at that as well.
Hey, you know, Leo, I'd argue that Jack has done a great job all semester. The song by Ray Charles says, "Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back, no more, no more, no more." But I think Jack should stick around. He's the best.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Jake over here, but this raises an interesting question. If you were to pick 2 people from our crew to replace us on air, who would they be and why?
This is a tough decision, but I've got 2 groups in mind. The first would be 2 of my roommates, Ben McClements and Chris Callow. The 2 of them together would be must-see TV, and they're already paired together on our show as the audio team. However, I think one of our producers, Stephen Wilczewski, and our director, Caden Murphy, would make a great team. They're attached at the hip, and if you didn't know them, you would think that they would be related with how well they get along.
Yeah, you know, Jake, both of those would be excellent shouts, but for our lead anchors of our wonderful show. But I think I'd lean towards BMAC and CT, as we call them, because they are roommates. And I think it would be funny if they aired out all of their roommate beef on air. But stick around here on All Access with the Profs. When we come back, Ian Harper takes a look at the calendar, and the debate team will talk about Rowan's best teams of 2025. Stick around, we'll be right back.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
We are back once again on the last All Access with the Profs episode of the first semester here at Rowan University. I am Ian Harper, and it's time to take a look at the upcoming week's schedule, which is, not joking, entirely taken up by basketball action. With just 4 contests on the weekly slate, it is time to turn all of the attention onto the court as the Profs basketball teams look to finish strong into winter break. Coming off of an insane 101-70 victory on Saturday afternoon, the women's team begins a home doubleheader tomorrow night as they square off against Kane. Tip-off is set for 5:30 p.m. right here at SB Gymnasium. The men's team looks to pick up their first win of the season right after, with their matchup scheduled for 7:30 p.m., also against the Kane Cougars. With no games on deck for the 2 following days, we take it into the weekend for the next and last Prof games of the week. The women's basketball team opens it up once again at 1 p.m., traveling to William Patterson for a midday Saturday matchup. Their next game after this weekend's contest won't be until December 30th, where they head over to Stevens to play the Ducks at 1 p.m. The men will, once again, play immediately following, with tip-off predicted to be at 3 p.m., same place and same opponent. The men won't be back in action for a few weeks until they host Christopher Newport on Friday, January 2nd at 5 p.m. That is all we've got for the last calendar segment of the first semester. And now that we've taken a look into the brief and not so brief future of Rowan Athletics, why don't we get back to the most electrifying part of All Access with the Profs. It is Sam Prince and the debate crew back in Studio 2. Take it away, fellas.
Thanks, Ian, and happy birthday, by the way. I want everyone to wish Ian Harper a very happy birthday today, and welcome back to the debate segment. I'm your host, Sam Prince, and alongside me today is Greg Mazzo, Keegan Thompson, and Gerasimus Leo. What a year it's been, guys, for Rowan Athletics. Both the baseball and softball teams went there, appeared in the College World Series, and that's just a small sample size of what Rowan Athletics has been up to this year. So, guys, before we end off the year 2025, what Rowan team was the best in this past year?
It has to be the Rowan softball team. 49-4 this season. They started off the season on a 31-game winning streak. They were also the last team in all 3 divisions to have 0 losses. It was the longest win streak in program history. They had 4 All-Americans, and they had 2 of the best pitchers in all the country. 2 of the best pitchers in all the country, and Riley Lutz and Emily McCutcheon, both pitchers who had a sub-1 ERA. They went all the way to the College World Series. They only have 4 losses the entire year. It has to be the Rowan softball team.
Well, let's go with another team that has only had 4 losses of the year and played in spring, Greg. I'm talking about women's lacrosse here. Women's lacrosse team had 2 All-Americans themselves with a much smaller roster size to choose from nationally. That was Molly Green, first team, and then Elena Corson, who made the second team. Many records broken, but more on that later. Drosmos, I want to hear who you've got.
Well, I see that both of you kind of going all the way back to the spring, which, by the way, our spring sports teams were phenomenal. I mean, it went on forever, like past June, I believe. But I'm going to stick with the fall, and I think you already know what I'm going with.
I know what you're going with.
I'm going with men's soccer. I'm going to go with men's soccer. I think that's just a team that, I mean, not as dominant as the women's, or excuse me, as the softball team, but just a team that I feel like had the most complete season. You look at how they started. They had a big winning streak. They hit a big roadblock in the middle, and lo and behold, they were able to recover, win the NJAC championship, and make an NCAA appearance.
Whoa.
What are we saying whoa for?
So no one picked the baseball team who appeared in the College World Series?
Hey, they made it pretty far, too. They didn't just appear. They did a pretty good job along the road. But
you're just adding to my point in this one. Who I think it should
I'm all right
be.
with that. Listen, I'm going to give flowers where they're due. I love all of our teams here at Rowan. I got to say, women's lacrosse team impressed me the most.
So Keegan, why did they impress you the most?
Listen, they're a team who came in, they didn't have massive expectations coming into the season. The women's softball team made it to 2 straight College World Series. The men's baseball team did a very good job as well. And the men's soccer team made it as high as second in the nation early on in the season during their win streak. The women's lacrosse team won 8 straight, had a tough loss on the road in overtime, by the way, only by 1 goal. Then they beat the 4th-ranked team in the country, Franklin and Marshall. They beat the 24th team, Christopher Newport. They didn't win the NJAC, but they were runners-up to TCNJ and made it further than them in the NCAA tournaments. Elena Corson set the all-time record for most goals in a game, as well as most goals in a season in the same year. By the way, her 10 goals came in the NCAA tournament. She made 13 All-American. Molly Green won both NJAC Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week this year. She was Midfielder of the Year, All-American First Team. It doesn't get better than that. I think the success of a team is about how good the legacy is that they left behind, Drosmos, and All-Americans, lots of NJAC honors, Coaching Staff of the Year. I mean, this is a team that's dominant.
And Drosmos, he kept on shouting you out. What do you have to say to that?
I have nothing else to say besides that. Go men's soccer. I mean, first off, I guess I have to give you paint a picture for you. Greg, don't give me that face.
Well, I deserve that face.
No, you don't know. No face
First
from
of all,
you.
the Rowan softball team had a plus 300 run differential. You want to talk about dominance? That's dominance right there. Losing 4 games where you've played 53 games. You play for 3 months. All those many games. You don't know how hard it is to lose 4 games in a season when you play more games than what lacrosse plays and what men's soccer has played. That is impressive.
All right.
Greg, I think you need a water break. You are heated, man.
I had to. His face is right.
Man, my eye test says your face is turning red.
Oh, really?
Let's hear about men's soccer.
I'll say real quick. I just feel like no team overcame more than Rowan men's soccer. That's all I have to say, because you look where they started. Again, you mentioned it. They were the 2nd-ranked team in the nation. They were from 2. I remember the whole thing. They were from 2 to 6th in the nation, the 10th in the nation to 18th to 24th to nothing. Still won the NJAC. They have an All-American in Johnny Troiano back-to-back years. He did that, plus the NJAC Offensive Player of the Year.
Back-to-back as well.
Ryan Cleary made an All-Region 4 first team, and he was the Defensive Player of the Year. So that team was very accomplished. They made the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2019, and 17 wins. This tied most under head coach Scott Baker.
Keegan, I think you were helping Drosmos with some points. Now, before we close out the debate segment, Greg, calmly, would you like to close us out here on why the softball team was the best team in 2025?
Well, they've been to the College World Series once again, the 3rd straight year. Up and down this lineup, they were just terrific. Top to bottom, their pitching staff was unbelievable. Plus 300 run differential, everything they were just completely dominant in every facet. It has to be them.
All right, well, guys, thank you guys for your analysis. Please scan the QR code to vote on who won the debate. If you want more news from around the NJAC, then Shane Alexa has you covered.
Thanks, Sam. Welcome back to another week of Around the NJAC. For the final time this semester, let's look around the NJAC. To start things off, let's look at men's basketball. There are multiple teams in action tomorrow night. TCNJ will take on Rutgers Camden, while Ramapo will face off against Montclair State. Rutgers Newark, William Patterson, and Kane will also be in action. Number 9 ranked Montclair State is 7-0 on the season and are currently in that 1 spot in the conference. Kane is currently in that 2 seed, followed by NJCU and Stockton. Turning to women's basketball, those same teams that are in action for the men's side of things will be inactive for the women's tomorrow night. William Patterson is currently atop the NJAC for women's basketball with a 7-0 overall record. Montclair State is currently sitting in the 2 seed, and the Profs are 1 spot behind them in 3rd. Turning to swimming and diving, both Merchant Marine's men's and women's team will take on Adelphi on Thursday at 6 o'clock. On the women's side of things, Kane currently leads the NJAC with a 6-0 record, followed by Merchant Marine and William Patterson. On the men's side of the pool, Merchant Marine is atop the NJAC, followed by Mary Washington and Montclair State. But that will do it for this week's edition of Around the NJAC. Thank you for traveling around the NJAC with us one last time for the semester. Let's send it back to Jake and Leo. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Shane. The holiday season is filled with joy and whimsy each and every year. A lot of people say it's the most wonderful time of the year, but I'd take it one step further and say it's the most magical time of the year. And who better to bring you some magic than our very own Jacob Michaud and his Magic Minute. Take it away, Jacob.
Thank you, Jake, and I fully agree. I do believe to my Magic Minute for one last time here this semester. Last week I went over all of the magic throughout the fall season, and the winter sports are already following suit. Magic was in the air last weekend as women's basketball reached 100 points for the first time in 4 years. Let's take a look at the play that got them there. And very simple play, you go down the court, nice pass inside, taking advantage of the defense there as Mason was talking about earlier. And there you go, and you just love to see the excitement from everybody, the crowd getting into it, the bench, rising up. You love to see it. Congratulations once again, women's basketball, reaching the century mark. Pretty incredible, or should I say magical stuff. Now, 100 points is great, but how they got those 100 points is even more magical. The team shot an incredible 52% from the floor in the second half and had a huge bounce back from beyond the arc, sinking 12 threes in that game after making just 1 in their previous game, although they still got the win, so kudos to them. I didn't even get to the best part yet, though. Despite the team scoring a whopping 100 points, no prof scored more than 16. Talk about a team effort. You absolutely love to see it. Teamwork makes the dream work, or as I like to say, teamwork makes the magic happen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the last trick I have up my sleeve for you all this semester. But do not worry, because Jordan Weisinger has you covered with the magic outside of Glassboro. Take it away, Jordan.
Thanks, Jacob. Welcome back to the weekly sports news segment. And here is your update on what you might have missed in the last week. All roads led to Abu Dhabi, and those roads led Lando Norris to his first ever World Drivers' Championship. After all the hype and talk of Max Verstappen making his comeback, Norris put it to bed by finishing 3rd and securing the points needed to mathematically clinch the title. Verstappen won the race, making it his 8th on the year, which led all of F1. Verstappen came up just short. He needed Norris to finish off the podium, but Charles Leclerc in P4 could not catch the speedy Brit, finishing 7 seconds behind. F1 now heads to the off-season, where we will see 2 new car manufacturers join the field in Cadillac and Audi. Additionally, the new car modifications for 2026 include lighter chassis, 50/50 hybrid power, active aerodynamics, and simpler floors for better racing. The college football playoff bracket was revealed on Sunday, and the committee made the decisions they seem fit. The 1 through 8 went as expected. Indiana, after beating Ohio State, moved up to 1. Ohio State fell to 2, and everyone else stayed in place from last week. Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma went 3 through 8. The committee elected to keep Alabama at 9 after its SEC loss to Georgia, and they flip-flopped Notre Dame and Miami after re-ranking the top 25. Miami beat Notre Dame back in Week 1, and ultimately, that head-to-head was the deciding factor. Tulane and James Madison rounded out the final 2 spots after winning its conference title games over North Texas and Troy. JMU got the final spot after Duke's upset win over Virginia in the ACC title game, making JMU the lone team from the Commonwealth of Virginia to ever make it to a college football playoff. The NFL wrapped up Week 14 last night, and there were some huge upset wins over the weekend. New Orleans went into Tampa Bay and beat the Bucs, allowing Carolina to tie the NFC South. Rookie quarterbacks Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders went to battle in Cleveland, resulting in Tennessee's second win of the year. And the Texans went into Arrowhead, and their league-leading defense put a dagger in the Chiefs' playoff hopes now that they hang on by a thread. Week 14 finished on Monday night with the Chargers winning in overtime over the Eagles in what was one of Jalen Hurts' worst games. He turned the ball over 5 times and twice on one play after he threw an interception to Deshaun Hand and recovered the fumble from him and then fumbled that recovery, resulting in Chargers possession. It's the first time in NFL history since it started tracking turnovers in 1933 that's happened. That's all I have for you this week in the world of professional sports. I'm Jordan Weisinger. Now let's send it back to Jake and Leo to wrap up the show.
One of the best parts of the holiday season is giving presents to those who you hold dearest. And today, Jake, I will be commencing the first official all-access with the Profs gift exchange.
This is groundbreaking. This is historical right here. First ever.
No one has ever done this before.
They haven't.
All right. So should I get the?
Okay. You can go first.
All right. So, Jake, you've been sweet all semester long. It's been nice and cuddly, and the good combination about that is a 1 pound gummy bear.
Wow.
To make that's sweet and that's cuddly. So I thought this would be the perfect gift for you too. And look, everybody, look. It says 1 pound of yumminess. 1 pound of yumminess.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to eat all that in one sitting.
Well, it's supposed to be a snack that you can enjoy all winter break long too.
Yeah.
Or you can frame it. You can frame it if you really want to.
I might have to share. But I got something.
You got something for me?
I got something for you as well.
Oh my God!
You can open it up if you'd like.
Right, so let me pass this across the
we'll
desk.
do a good old switcheroo here.
All right, let's see what's in here.
I figured I would get you some new Rowan gear so that you can support our Rowan athletics teams a little bit better.
Look at that!
A nice quarter zip.
Look at that!
From the Barnes & Noble bookstore.
So Jake not only has outclassed me as an anchor all semester, he's outclassed me gifts-wise too, and now I look like the fool. But
this is great.
This is
fantastic.
This is a terrific gift.
This is you can't eat that. I can eat the 1 pound of yumminess. So.
Well, yeah, I can wear this and look like a basketball coach now.
You can. I mean, that sure was fun, Leo. Just like the rest of this episode and like the rest of this season. This episode was like the bow on top of a well-wrapped gift. But this is the last time for this season. We'll be signing off and saying goodbye.
And just like the boys in NSYNC put it, Jake, it's time for bye.
Well, like Post Malone, I'm no good at goodbyes, but I can try. No matter how you say goodbye, adios, arrivederci, sayonara, au revoir, it's never easy. This season has been terrific and fun-filled all semester. All Access with the Profs has brought me and many others laughs, smiles, and tears this season. And I'd like to thank everyone. From our entire crew, our field reporters, everyone else here in the studio, and especially our producers, Stephen Wilczynski and Logan Stewart, we thank you for watching All Access with the Profs. I'm Jake Clark alongside Leo West, and for the final time this semester,
go Profs!